What's going on, you guys? Fat Kid Productions here, and today, nothing much is really going on, of course, but today, now let me ask you something before I get into today's story, vlog. How many of you, all 40 of you, I need an honest answer from you, how many of you have had a bad babysitter? Well, me and my siblings did, and it sucked pretty bad. So I'm going to go ahead and tell a story about it for today's vlog. Now I want to go ahead and throw this out here real quick before I get into today's story. Today's vlog isn't to get sympathy or anything like that, or cry for attention. It's just I just want to put it out there because everybody's at least had one babysitter horror story, and so I'm gonna go ahead and put mine out there today. Mine and Drew's and all that. I mean, Drew was really little when most of this stuff happened, so I don't even think he'd remember. But, alright, let's get to... You see, us growing up, me and my siblings, we've had lots of babysitters. I mean, we've gone through a bunch. And, not because we're bad kids and we deserve to get beat or anything, but it's just, we moved a lot when we were younger, and, so that's why we had to go through so many babysitters. Alright, so let's get into our first babysitter. Her name was Michelle, and let's say Michelle was a pretty big bitch, because she lived with her sister Teresa, and her sister Teresa was a pretty big bitch as well. And believe it or not, they were identical twins, and yeah, it was actually pretty scary. The only way you could tell them apart is because Teresa had braided hair, like cornrows, and Michelle had just regular long blonde hair. And anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and tell you a story about what made this babysitter so horrible. Oh, I can hear a Family Guy in the background. A bag of weed, everything's better with a bag of weed. I love that song. I mean, but alright, sorry, let's get right back into the story. Alright, so here's what made Michelle a bitch. I remember one time, you see, I'm actually autistic, so when I was younger, like maybe around 5, 6 years old, my language skills were not that good. So, say you came up to me and said, "Did you push that vase over?" I wouldn't be able to tell you. I'd just be able to shake my head no, but, so of course, me not having very good language skill, I couldn't really say yes or no to anything. I'm gonna go ahead and be honest real quick, I actually couldn't speak till I was around 5, so yeah. Anyway, so Michelle comes up to me, because me and a bunch of other kids she babysat were in this room playing with toys, and I was just sitting around playing with my wrestling figures I always played with, and all of a sudden, Michelle just bursts in the room. Well, the other kids were in there throwing toys around and stuff, you know, being stupid, and Michelle comes in, and she's like, "What in the heck is going on here?" And all the kids are like, and they're looking for something to blame. They're like, "Brendan was throwing toys." And Michelle comes up to me, picks me up by the back of my hair. Now, I had pretty long hair when I was little, so yeah. She comes up, snatches me up by the back of my hair, picks me up, and puts me on my feet. And she's like, "Were you throwing toys in here?" And I was just like, and I was crying at the same time. And then eventually Michelle's like, "Okay, you're all in trouble. Get in the corner." And now we had to get in corners, but these weren't real corners like this one. They weren't real corners. They were these. We had to put our noses on them. And every time we removed our noses, she'd slam our face right back in them. Yeah, Michelle was kind of fucking abusive. And her sister Teresa was much worse. I remember one time, her sister Teresa kneed me in the face. Yeah, these bitches were kind of psychopathic. But luckily, that was years ago, so I don't give a fuck anymore. But, yeah. Actually, I think they were arrested eventually after that. I don't really remember. They were arrested for something. I don't know. But then I remember our second babysitter. I'm not going to go through every single babysitter we've ever had, just the two of the worst ones we've ever had. Because I'm not going to lie, when I remembered being little, we had some pretty good babysitters. Not going to lie, some of those awesome babysitters any kid could ever ask for. You know, I remember I had a babysitter named, I forgot her name, Gina? Yeah, her name was Gina. She bought me a PS2 for my 8th birthday. How sweet is that? Anyway, so Anyway, aside from Gina, I'll talk about Gina after I talk about this person. Was actually my mother's stepsister, and her name was Jennifer. And Jennifer was just fucking cuckoo. Of course, everybody on my mom's side of the family is fucking cuckoo, including me, sadly. Anyway, but no, Jennifer was pretty chill, pretty laid back. But it's just when you got on her bad side is when the abuse sort of came out. I remember one time I was sitting there playing the PS1, because all we had at the time was a PS1, so I was sitting there playing that, and I remember one day I got in trouble at school. I was still in, I think, pre-K at this time. I don't really remember. I remember this because it was kind of, I remember most stuff that happened to me when I was old because it was kind of traumatizing. Anyway, so I get home from school, I get off the bus, and Jennifer is waiting for me outside. And now my bus driver actually witnessed this, but of course when I was little, everybody in my community sort of minded their own business, and I guess let them do them, Anyway, so I get off the bus, and Jennifer gets out of the car and snags me up by my hair, and she says, "Go in the house." Now, you see, we were living with my grandfather at the time, and you see, my grandfather let us rent half of his house. He got the bottom half, and we got the top half, so there was my mom's stepsister, my mom, and me and the rest of my siblings. Now, keep in mind, Deacon wasn't even born until 2008, 2009, 2008. And, anyway, so she takes me upstairs, and, she throws me on the recliner. Now, my grandpa wasn't home from work yet, because, now, let me tell you something, if my grandpa witnessed that, he would have kicked her ass. I'll tell you what, now, my grandfather's a pretty good guy, but he can work on his temper a little bit, but anyway, but if he would have saw that, he would have kicked her ass. Anyway, so she throws me on the recliner, and she's going off about a bunch of other shit, and I'm just like, I'm 5 years old, I just want to play WWF SmackDown, I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. And, so anyway, for some reason, I'm just sitting there laying on the chair, but every time I would turn to look away, she would snag me up by my hair again and say, something about answering me. Okay, remember, I'm 5 fucking years old. I just want to play WWF SmackDown all day. And, so then, after that, I do that about the 5th time. She snags me up by my hair, whips me with a belt, and sends me to a bedroom. And I don't really remember much after that. Yeah. Well, I guess that's it for today. There are a lot more stories where that came from, but I'm just going to tell those ones, because there's a whole lot of them, and I don't want to... There's 7 minutes have already been used up in the video. Yeah. Well, it wouldn't hurt to tell a couple more. Anyway, so... I remember this one time, my oldest sister, Harley, and Jennifer were watching us. Now, remember, we were all little kids at this time. This doesn't happen to this day, no. And I remember, I was sitting there playing PS1 WWF SmackDown. I remember my sister came in. She kicked me over with her foot and started stomping on me. And you see, my sister was a pretty big bully growing up. I will tell a story about that soon. And my sister was a pretty big bully growing up. And I actually remember standing up to her. Now, that's a story I'll tell maybe tomorrow or sometime soon. But, yeah, that's just how my sister was. There was no change in her. Anyway, so then I remember she was stomping on me, but the babysitter, Jennifer, she was just sitting there, just laughing like a fucking dumbass. And dude, honestly, if I ran into Jennifer today, I would fuck her up. Like, no joke. Hell, I'd make Drew record. I'd be like, "All right, Brandon, it's going." Just beating the shit out of her. Anyway, well, guess that's it for today, you guys. Thank you for giving me time to tell those stories. Now, tomorrow's vlog is going to be me telling the story about how I stood up to my oldest sister. So stick around for that. Comment, subscribe. Peace.